Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let me have my usual fight with Zoom. Share screen, this one. No, I think I'm getting a hang of it finally. Okay. So, yeah, welcome for on today's maintainers call. You may notice a slight change in the initial slide. Uh, so basically now we are a Hyperledger Identus. That's one of the updates we are going to share today. But just before continuing, remember the antitrust policy notice and adhere to all the laws related to uh, antitrust and competition laws. Um, Additionally, also remember to adhere to the Hyperledger Code of Conduct during this call. And for today, well, this is our usual agenda. We will see if we have anyone new in the call today. Then we are going to share some updates, talk a little bit about the working group related to Identus and DApps. We will check if there are any updates on ADRs. Then we are going to go through the open issues, and finally we are going to have our usual Q&A. So I think there is no one new today. Matthew, Newman, Ben, Eric. Yep. Lawrence. Is Lawrence new?
Is Lawrence here?
Yeah. Hey, Newman, good to hear from you.
I was just looking for you. I was just looking for your video because I wanted to shout it out. That's on my list. I'm gonna run through it. I was like, oh, an hour with Lawrence. That's sounds like a great time.
Good stuff. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I introduced myself last week, so I'm definitely not new, but I am new kind of to the community. Great. Good to see you, Newman. Good to see everyone. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, so yeah, I think the rest are our usual subjects. So regarding updates, as I already mentioned a little bit, we were in the process of converting our Open Enterprise Agent Lab into an Hyperledger project. So for that, we followed the process that took a little bit of time. Basically, it was about creating a proposal, working on it, refining it, and then presenting it to the Hyperledger Technical Oversight Committee for voting. So that was done like 2 weeks ago and was voted favorable. So that means that we are now Hyperledger project. It has not been like announced in a blog post or anything like that. That will come eventually. There are still some things that we will be working on, like creating a logo for the project, creating an announcement with the news and all the stuff. So we will keep the community posted on all this progress. What implications does this have? Well, there are going to be some changes in the repositories. Probably some of you already noticed that the OEA repository was moved from the Hyperledger Labs GitHub organization to the Hyperledger GitHub organization. There are going to be more changes in the repository structure. That is because with this change, now that we are Hyperledger Identus, we are also going to include in this open source other components from the Prism platform. So those are the mediator, the free wallet SDKs, the Apollo cryptographic library, and I think there are the documentation. So basically what we are going to do is we are going to create a main repository that is going to be Identus. From this repository is going to be like an entry point that will give you some information about the project, and it will provide links to the other repositories of the components that are part of Identus. So that restructuring has not been done yet, but it will take place during the upcoming days. So probably there is going to be some sort of a noise in the repositories. Maybe some links may break, but it's something that, well, is unavoidable due to the transition. But we will try to keep everyone posted in the Discord channel so everyone is aware when things are going to happen. So yeah, beyond the changes in the repository structure, there are going to be some changes in branding references. So currently there are a lot of things that refer to Atala Prism. So as part of this transition to Hyperledger, these references are going to change a little bit. So in the near future, also we will be looking to start doing more engagement with the community. That is part of this open source effort. But right now we are focused on finishing the transition. Once we are done with this, we will engage more openly with the community and maybe start looking forward to do some sort of activities to promote more the engagement. Is there any question about this?
I do have a question. So like on the did method, is that going to change or is that going to stay as Prism?
So the did method is going to stay as Prism. That one is not going to change.
Okay.
The idea is that in the future, there are going to be some sort of modularity to be able to adopt different did methods. But that is something that is as a future plan. Right now, it's not available. But yeah, did Prism is going to remain for the time being until we manage to mature this concept of having how we call it, like BDRs that you can well, select what you want to use as BDR, and that probably will be including maybe additional did methods, but those are future plans.
Got it. Thanks.
Any other question?
Thanks.
Yeah, so I suppose the API calling the node where you have Prism dash agent, Prism agent, and then wallets, then whatever. This is going to change as well, I suppose. You're not going to keep a Prism in the name of the API.
Yeah, probably it's going to change. Don't expect all the changes to be done immediately because these things well are difficult. Probably there are going to be a lot of Prism reference that are not going to be removed right away. So we are doing the initial effort, and along the way we are going to be working on all these other details that are left behind until we finally clean all the references.
Okay, I would recommend, I think, that you keep the name Prism for the agent node, which are Prism nodes, and then Identus nodes for the other ones. Otherwise, it's going to be very confusing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, we will take note of that. Any other question? No. So let's continue. A few weeks ago, I started talking about this working group. The idea is to create a working group to explore how to use Hyperledger Identus with decentralized applications. So basically, the apps that work with blockchain. That is still in place, but I am not defining yet a start date. There are some things that we need to work on this transition. So I'm a little bit short on time to dedicate on the working group. So once we finalize the transition, then I will retake this and I will define a starting date and we will do the proper communications in Discord channel to get this rolling. Any question about this? No, very good. So I don't know, do we have Benjamin in the call? Do we have anything to share about ADRs?
No, nothing new, actually. So as I said 2 weeks ago, we are now concentrating on implementing existing ADRs and the ones around the improving the error management, error handling in the REST API logic and in the background jobs logic. So that's part of the next internal product increment. So we will start implementing that in the next PI, which will start in the coming days. So, but no new ADRs, no, which is good.
Okay, thanks for the update. Then the open issues. So basically, before we only talked about open issues related to Open Enterprise Agent, but now that we are including the full family of components, I guess the scope of the open issues review is going to be a little bit wider. So normally this is reviewed with Yuri, but I think he's not today in the call. So maybe we can go through this and see if someone has anything to share related updates of the specific items. Then we can talk about them, and if not, then well, we move to another one. So for the cloud agent, we have here these 5 open items. Maybe I will go one by one and ask if someone has anything to update and can share with the group. The first one is related to issuer deeds with purpose assertion method. This is assigned to, I think this is Shailesh.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to share?
Yeah, it's done actually. It's PR is raised, is approved. But there is, like we renamed the Identis and there is a PR title problem. So I think that's why I haven't merged that.
Okay. Yeah, but that's so the issue was already addressed and will be eventually merged. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one is also assigned to you.
Yeah, for that I have put my comments already on that ticket because I was not able to. I was able to publish the did, and I haven't heard anything back after that. And I put my all findings, and so it is working as expected. So, so it could be the way they have set up, and there is some problem there. But I was able to publish a did on the network, so and it got published. So I put on my all results and even the links.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that. Well, let's wait if the HM adds something else.
No problem.
Next one, this one is with Fabio. Fabio is with us today.
So that one I did a PR to improve the way that we read the configuration from the files, but it's not addressing the problem. I mean, in terms of it's making more type safe, and I'm also adding logs to be able to debug the problem, but I'm not able to test the issue because it's using Windows WSL. So we need someone with that configuration to test it.
Okay.
It's Eric here. It's me who logged it. I'm not 100% convinced it's totally linked to WSL in the end. I mean, it's in the title, obviously, but in the end, I think there's a setup that doesn't work well at some point when passing maybe when passing the first parameters to settings to the Docker run, and then it keeps it. It doesn't update or something like this. So I agree, it's very difficult to reproduce. In the end, myself, I managed to create a new environment that did not have this bug, like starting from scratch again. So up to you to see if you want to close it after what you've done to try to log more information. I think it's going to come back at some point, but yeah, it's what it is.
So the fix that I did doesn't fix anything, let's say, but at least it runs the validation at when it starts, not at when. So when it starts, it's run all the validation, and before it was running when was called. So I think it might fix some things, but I'm not sure if it's fixing the problem.
Yeah. By the way, just one question, because I don't know. Who can close issues? Is it the one who opened it or anybody?
I think anybody can close it.
Okay.
Not sure what is the process.
Okay.
As soon as it's resolved, anyone can close it. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So I'll let you deal with it. I'm not touching anymore. Thank you.
Do we think that makes sense, Yuri? Shouldn't the opener usually close it? In the general sense?
I guess we can be flexible here.
Yeah, we can be flexible, but something to think about.
If we agree with reporter that the issue is closed, I can close it, Esteban can close it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
But the main criteria is to have the evidence that, yep, issue can be closed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if the team didn't do anything to address the issue, but the opener of the issue is satisfied with the conversation, maybe the one who opened the issue, it would be the best person to close it. Like, just say, yeah, okay, I agree with whatever has been discussed, and I'm going to close it. I think we can follow that approach. Then the next one is this one who is currently assigned to you, Yuri. Do you have anything to update on this?
Yes, I wrote the update and started conversation with our SRE team to provide some recommendation about deploying the Prism agent and Prism mediator. And for now, our recommendation is to use proxy for TLS management. So it's possible to add this at the application level as well, just for development and prototyping purposes. But as I wrote, I don't think that it's going to be our priority right now. There are plenty of different proxies that you can use and configure TLS easily and just expose agent API and mediator API behind these proxies. So it's purely SRE activity.
Okay. Let's see if who opened this one, Heyem, replies, and then we can close it later. This one is...
Can I have one quick question about that, please? So question, API 6, it's currently using or used on the deploy, right? That's the one that already, okay. So, and that supports TLS.
Yep.
Right? Okay. So why, all right, so, and the suggestion is use any of those, right? For adding the SSL certificate. So can we have, is there any documentation that we can, oh, maybe I just add this, whatever, for API 6, or it's just not part of the concern of the setup? Because if it's already there, I guess what's the problem with adding the SSL certificate part of it? on the deployment, or it's because it's just depending on any other and external things, right?
So in the examples that you can find in the infrastructure folder, we use API6, but without configured TLS. This TLS is configured in our AWS infrastructure in Kubernetes and is managed by our SRE team.
Okay, all right. So there is an example using that. Okay, perfect. That was my question. Great. That's all I needed.
And
Thank you.
recently we also added KDE server to the examples that we currently have in a branch with OIDC stuff. KDE is much simpler in configuring TLS. It exposes TLS by default, so you don't need to configure some additional certificates or other stuff. So it's a built-in functionality, like exposing. Yep, this is one. KDE
Awesome.
proxy is
Awesome.
pretty simple. If you put it behind, in front of your application and just configure the roles to the mediator and agent, you will have TLS for free out of the box.
Okay, great. Yeah, as long as there's an example of how to use it with the API 6, I think that's all we need. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so we have the memory leak. Anything to update on this one?
Not yet. I still need to talk to Brandsman about this, and just to confirm that we don't have a memory leak.
Okay.
Ви можете тихіше говорити, будь ласка?
So these are the open issues of the cloud agent. Now, probably for this call, we are not going to be able to get too much details on open issues related to other repositories, because this is something that we are just starting to do. But maybe just I'm going to look very quickly on these repositories, see if there are issues opened by the community. I think all these ones are IOG. I think this one from MixMix is from the community. This one is from the community. Fabio, Michael, Fabio, Shailesh. Yeah, maybe look on these ones. Is there any update that can be shared about this one? Maybe Fabio? It's about cryptographic keys, optional from MixMix.
Oh, so that one I think Shailesh is working on it. It is improving the way that we pass the credentials, so it doesn't have a default one. Basically, the idea is to make it difficult for people to start instance of the mediator with default passwords.
Fabio, that was merged, right? So I think.
Yeah, we need to review the tickets that are open, because I think some of them should be closed by now.
Yeah, we have addressed that. I think we will close. I think after this call, Fabio, let's have a talk and then we can close.
Okay.
Quick question there about the mediator. So by default, we get the share, the screen where you can share all the peer of the mediator, basically, right? And I understand, like, if you don't have that peer, there's no way that you can ever try to connect from anyone everywhere else, right? So essentially, by sharing that information, the mediator will be public. Is there a use case or a way to just tell the mediator, no, I just want a blank page there. This is like a private instance for now, or something like that, where that initial page where you see the QR code and invitation and all that, can that be omitted somehow or toggle off on the configuration just to keep private mediator instances? Because I think that there's some valid use cases for private mediators versus exposing that, right?
So we don't have that at the moment, but the best way to do it is like to open an issue and discuss some of those features that you are talking about, because there are many use cases where it makes sense.
Okay, awesome. All right, I'll create the issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have this other one, apparently is related to the confusion about versioning. But I think like the topic was already addressed in the conversation. I don't know, Fabio, is there anything else that you want to add on this one?
So the goal here is to have a stable version that is production ready. So if we do any updates and stuff like that, we have like all the requirements from the CMU version, like migration guides and stuff like that. It's basically to make the mediator more stable for users.
Okay. Let's see very quickly if there is something in Apollo. This one is from Pat, so this is internal. Wallet SDK TS, probably there is going to be something here. Yeah, there are quite a few. Who is C2BN? Is someone from the community? Yeah, it's no one from IOG, right?
Yeah, I didn't think that's some IO.
No.
I think I've commented on that. I'm not him, but just scroll down. Yeah, I got the same issues. So more similar issue.
Do we have someone in the call of the IOG team that works with the TS SDK? I think we don't, right?
Yeah,
This would be, yeah. This probably would be Javi. Okay. Yeah, I think we don't have the experts today with us on the SDK TS, so there is not much to discuss, but at least we can see that there are already some community issues reported on here. There is one from Mix, other from Mix, other from Ben. So let's try to get Javi for the next maintainers call in here so he can comment on those other items. Probably we don't have anyone who works with the KMM SDK, but these issues are internal. Swift SDK, co-developer. This is a very old one. This is John, right?
Yeah, he's not around. He's at the conference, at the SSI conference right now.
Okay, looks like.
But I think he
Gonzalo.
figured, yeah, he fixed that issue. Yes, he just needs to update on the latest release of the SDK, the Swift SDK. It's fixed. Yeah, I know that it's working for him right now.
Okay. So this is 127. I will close this one later. Just let me put the number over here to close that one. Fabio, Gonzalo, and this is very, very old, from 2022. Okay, this is number 63. Probably we close that one as well. What else? Documentation. I'm not sure if there is anything here. This is Jesus, Michael. Yeah, nothing from the community. Okay. So yeah, these are the open issues. I think we need to work on a definition of how to close tickets and who is responsible for closing the tickets. Have that better defined, so we don't get all this pile of tickets that are solved but not closed, or maybe there was a solution found. Okay, so finally Q&A in general. Any question, recommendation, suggestion, complaint? Anything in the chat? Okay, so yeah, I think that that is for today. As usual, thank you very much for joining, and see you next week.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Keep well.